Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of the For Female Founders podcast series, where women in business learn to thrive, not just survive. I'm your host, Sarah Bundy. Today, I'm excited to welcome and introduce you to Sarah Malo and Amanda Ferris from LinkUnite. LinkUnite is a movement aimed at uniting communities and the greatest minds in the digital marketing world and beyond. Poised to break barriers and elevate the soul, LinkUnite is an invite-only women's retreat and digital marketing forum. Sarah and Amanda, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having us.
Yay, first ever guests. I'm so excited to have you guys. It's been wonderful getting to know you over the last few years, and actually wonderful that we have such like-minded initiatives, vision for the future, and how we want to help women. I'd love to know, tell us a little bit about LinkUnite, please, and tell us how you guys met and how you decided to
I feel like the origin story comes before the how the LinkUnite part, so definitely tell us in our chronological timeline. But Sarah and I go back to when she was working at Clarion. I was buying booths from her as a client, so we go way back in terms of timeline, and then have just naturally somehow ended up in the same spaces together. I think by universal design, they have just thrown us into the same companies, and we have taken advantage of really just being together and collaborating on things that really inspire us, which obviously is LinkUnite, but everything that is tertiary to LinkUnite as well. So.
Oh, that's awesome, Sarah. How about you, Sarah? How'd you get into the space, and how did you get into the vision of LinkUnite?
So I started in affiliate marketing when it was first born, what feels a bazillion years ago, and I was
LinkUnite's actually a pioneer in that. But when you sat there and you said, like, here's the biggest problem women have in their careers or in business and outside of lack of resources, was it that they were trying to advance their careers and didn't have the support? Were they lacking the skill set or education? Like, what was the super problem?
It's a little bit of all.
I think you said it. So yeah, a little bit of all of it. I mean, especially the support piece. I think a lot of women were afraid to advance themselves in their career, especially in our industry, which, as we all know, is male dominated. And I just think like Amanda was supporting me and I was supporting her, and we were like, how can we do this for everybody? But that support piece is huge. I think it just lacked big time, unfortunately,
And I think skilled leadership was a piece of that too. So we had, and God bless the men who really did take us under their wing. At the time, there were some great allies. My mentors were men coming in, Mo and a few others that really just taught me everything that I know about the industry. But at the time, I didn't know how to get how do you go start a new company? How do you get funding? How do you, run the infrastructure and operation for something you've never been exposed to or you didn't go to school for? And, there has to be better ways than saying, go back to school and figure it out for yourself. It wasn't really an option. As you know, the industry changes so fast. It's like, take advantage of, the relationship that you built and the knowledge that you kind of have as a hive and really push forward. And I think that's just the mentality we took, was we're better together. And so if we can pull in minds that can help us fill in the holes, fill in the gaps, then other people are also looking for those things. So kind of the more the merrier mindset.
Yeah, and I think you make a really great point, Amanda, because like you, I was very fortunate to have some amazing male mentors throughout my career as well. And, big shout out to all the men who are listening to this show and the men who are supporting women in business and advocating for their female colleagues and their team members and support women-founded companies. We certainly wouldn't be able to do the things that we do without the support of everybody, which is an all-inclusive, very diverse group of people. And men are a very amazing foundation to that over the last, I think, 50 years, 30 years, where, they want to see women succeed too. So thank you to the advocates out there who support women like us and who continue to support women-founded businesses and their teams. Let's talk a little bit about your vision. By the way, I just heard my own Canadian accent when I said that. So if anyone is listening to this and they heard my Canadian accent, there we go. What's your vision for LinkUnite over the next 3 to 5 years? Like, where are we going with all of this? Who are you servicing? Is it all going to stay in digital marketing? Is it all going to be the same types of women in business, CEOs, founders, executive level? Like, where are you going?
Oosh, you want me to take a little piece of that?
Want me to start with the side, yeah.
Yeah, so the mentorship is really big right now for us. We launched, actually, you participate in our Link mentorship program. It is booming. Everybody wants to be a part of it. We're trying to find how, more time during the day to really dedicate ourselves to it. But I can see us growing that. We are bringing young people in. We're keeping the industry growing. We're giving women the tools to succeed, like Amanda said, going from VP to C-suite, and just having the guts really to make those leaps. And I personally just can see that going huge. I can see us going to colleges and start to recruiting women in all industries. And Amanda can take that piece, how we're going to kind of branch out a bit.
So we just naturally, I think, as people evolve and technology evolves and careers evolve, as you know, Sarah, people kind of end up in different spaces. So you start with this fundamental group of amazing people from all walks of life that somehow end up in the world we call performance marketing, which is extremely fun. But it branches out into telecom and to all these other places. So, as we grow with the people, I mean, that's what I'm saying, is as we grow with the ladies and the people who support us, we naturally are evolving into the fintech space, into the AI space, into these other industries that we didn't really see ourselves in, but there's definitely a need. And they're kind of pulling us and taking the direction and the initiative on that too. So again, to have the group is pushing forward the initiative on its own, because it's that breathing machine and, amorphic, body of humans at the end of the day. And I think, like Sarah said, with the mentorship programs, with some of the advocacy we're doing on the Hill, in conjunction with several organizations like Reach and working with Gayla Huber and IntegraShield, I think that what we really see is just being an advocate for women, not just in the performance marketing space, but in general. So that can be anything from just support and entrepreneurship, right? We really want to push people, out of their comfort zone. Because I think if you're not challenging yourself, it's, complacency is kind of death, but at the end of the day, right? So I feel like if you're, not being too aggressive, but just saying, hey, we have your back, we've got the resources, I believe in you, I'll do anything I can to support you. That's where we're seeing kind of the growth phases. I think about 24 new companies even created out of the LinkUnite group in the last year. We love seeing that. So I think the natural evolution will be kind of watching people evolve and following them, but we definitely see a growth in, especially with AI and new technology, that we're going to kind of follow that path.
Yep.
That's awesome. And so as you guys continue to grow and fortunate enough to come to your retreat last year, and I met unbelievably accomplished, brilliant, passionate, just the biggest heart women I've ever met. And lots of them were single. Lots of them were working moms. Some were single working moms. Some were trying to transition out of a divorce or a long-term relationship. And you know, how do we as women tackle these kind of lifestyle things that are challenges for us that might be unique to us? What are you seeing to be the most common things that we're tackling as a gender?
Women just take on so much, you know, so it's, I mean, if I were to tell people what I do from the start of my day to the end of the day, they wouldn't believe me, you know, because, you know, I'm working a couple of jobs, I'm raising 2 teenagers, I'm volunteering, I'm a big part of my community. And I think that it's just women need to know that they can have it all, right? You can be the CEO of a business. You can be raising your children. And I always just say no regrets at the end of the day, right? Everybody's alive under my roof. I've, accomplished my tasks and no regrets. And I just think that women are afraid that they can't do it all, that they think that they have to choose. And I can tell you, I am right here and I have done it all. I've branched out into everything. I'm not the best at everything I do, but I'm able to do all of it, and I think how many times, matter of fact, Amanda just introed me to a mom yesterday, actually, and she just had a baby, she's going through a divorce and she just needs support, so I'm just going to get on the phone with her and be like, listen, you want to call me at midnight because your baby's crying and you're trying to figure out how to do your emails, call away, so it's just it's a support, and you can have it all. Honestly, you can.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I came to appreciate. Well, there are many things that I came to appreciate about the LinkUnite family. We're going to call it a family, call it a tribe, but you meet these people who really are there for each other. I walked away from that retreat and I got so many phone numbers. I got so many text messages afterwards. We had like fireside chats into the wee hours of the night. And, there were CEOs who'd been sitting around carrying the weight of the worlds on their shoulders, not ever able to actually explain, here's what I've had to go through over the last week, let alone month, let alone years, right? And, a few tears are shed and it's like a release, and it's not weird and it's not awkward, and egos really are left at the door, and you walk away from it feeling lighter and clearer in your head, right? And you have this suddenly support group that you can text at midnight and they do respond. So I think that was so valuable that I personally hadn't been able to experience as a founder and CEO, which is a very lonely walk for people who aren't part of a community. To walk away from that and be like, actually, there's a big group of us out there, and everyone's kind of in the same boat, and everybody does understand each other's challenges. And it's refreshing and great that we know where to go now, right? And people have got each other's backs. So that for me is one of the biggest reasons why it's important for women to find a tribe, to invest in things like LinkUnite as a member, to support other women in business, because emotionally it's a drain. It's draining if you are trying to do it all, which, to Sarah, to your point, you can. But at what point do you get release, and do you get support, and who's filling your bucket at the end of the day? And that's something I really appreciate about what you guys are doing. Cool. So let's shift gears into a couple of different questions for you, because we have some female founders listening to this show. You guys are founders and co-founders. As business partners, I've had business partners in the past. For those of you who don't know me, I actually had the privilege of launching my company when I was 6 months pregnant by myself, and then having my wonderful husband join the company 10 months later. And the two of us we ran and grew our company for almost 15 years together, and it was amazing. But choosing your partner to run a business with is a really important decision, and it can be a make or break for an organization. It can also be a make or break for relationships. It can be a make or break for reputation, for brand, for your sanity, like all the things, right? So what are the things that you've learned about working as partners? What works, what doesn't work? How have you figured out your dynamic?
Yeah, so
I feel like we're so different.
That's the beautiful part of our relationship, is we are so different and so similar at the same time. So we're literally like right brain and left brain. Like I am, really good at creating graphics and things like that. And Sarah's really good at the content. So I can create the visual of what she can proofread for my dyslexic self and make sure that we're good to go, right? From an actual execution standpoint. But I think what we predicate and why we try to set an example is our foundation is really built on friendship and trust. Like Sarah and I were always there for each other before. So this is, pre-LinkUnite, pre-COVID, everything days. It was when you find someone that sees the world the way you do, and that you both kind of have the same ethics and you want the same things, and you've proven that to each other over time. It's not
relationship. I did not know who I was actually partnering with. I didn't understand his values. I didn't understand his work ethic. And 15 months into that, I had to walk away from the business and start again from scratch, because we were very value disaligned, and it created a lot of issues and challenges and different ways of managing business and clients. And it was not a successful partnership, because even though the respect boundaries was there, the value alignment was not. So, but if you also have the value alignment and not the respect, that also doesn't help and doesn't work. So, two really great points for anyone who's listening. If you are considering a business partner or partners, there's two things that you can think about right off the bat: is, are you guys value aligned? Are you like-minded? Do you have the same purpose? Are you striving towards the same things as an organization? And do you have the respect for each other to make sure that everybody can find that work-life balance and have a personal life, and it's not just work 24/7. So great points. Thanks, ladies. Couple last questions, and then we're actually out of time. So where do you see the most progression happening for women in business today? Where have we seen the best advancements, whether that's new businesses launching, certain types of verticals launching, people getting promoted at work? Maybe it's recognition for certain skill sets or characteristics that are unique to us. Where have we made the most traction these days, in your eyes?
I think within our group, it's the entrepreneurship. I think that people who have really been considering going out on their own for years, but never had the bandwidth to do it, or just didn't think they could do it. I've got, like Sarah says, I got kids, I got things to do, and it's like, you can, right? So for us, I think it's seeing people come out of their shells, because it's also access to information. Now they know where to go get these resources. They know where to align with the proper people who can get them to the next phase, bringing in the right people who can help them fill the holes when they need to. So I think that the entrepreneurship side, from our group, at least in our standpoint, is where we're seeing the biggest growth. But I definitely see women in tech, the tech side of our industry, more than I ever have. Not just the affiliate marketing, not just the AM and the AEs, but actually in building or being a part of project management for tech infrastructure, whether that's through telecom, data analytics, AI, whatever it might be, but really making a push in those industries, which I absolutely love to see, because I think the more, varied the perspective as you come into these industries, the better the product's going to be at the end of the day. So that's kind of where I'm seeing at least the industry / art group going personally.
It's everybody has the same story, though. I think that's something that people need to know about Amanda and I. One of us has had a call with every single woman that's a part of LinkUnite. Like, we take the time to get on the phone with our members and talk, and just listening to their stories, I'm like, oh my God, almost all of us have a very similar path. And just being able to say, you know what, you can do it. What's the worst that happens? You want to launch a business and it fails. Well, guess what? How many businesses have failed? Right? It happens. And so, just kind of, I feel like Amanda and I we're giving everybody just a little teeny push, to go and start their own business, something they've wanted to do for years. So it's so exciting for us to see this.
Oh, that's so good. And it's not only just giving them a push, but giving them a foundation and a community and a group and resources and knowledge and expertise sharing and heart and an ear. And I think that's a big part of what LinkUnite is. Excuse me, let's talk a little bit about your mentorship program, because you both had mentioned that's something that's really important to you guys, that's getting a lot of traction. Sounds like you got a little bit of a waiting list of people who actually want to be mentored. Yeah. And I have been very fortunate to be able to be one of the mentors in the group. And I love working with my mentee. She's phenomenal. We have the most amazing conversations every other week. And I've personally enjoyed it a lot. But tell us a little bit about the mentorship program, and what are some of the things that people are working on in those groups?
Absolutely. So our mentorship program, Sarah really heads that up, on her side. And what we've really found to be successful is we really founded it on a lot of the entry level. What you're looking to do, people will resonate with that, and they're going to want to work with you. Yeah. And being a good person goes beyond ethics. It's actually building meaningful relationships. It's not just, oh, what can you do for me, or what have you done for me lately, but like talking about families, and to the point of just building personal relationships. I do want to throw one other thing in there too, because I think it's extremely valuable piece of information that Sarah and I have both learned ourselves, and I've learned in other businesses that I'm involved with, but it's be flexible. that is, you've got to be able to pivot in any industry, but especially in this industry, it changes every 6 to 8 months. There's new technology, new regulation. Don't take it personally when people give you, not necessarily criticism, but just feedback. It's be able to pivot and adjust. Advice. And I think if you're able to do that, you'll go a lot farther than being stuck in your ways. And, it's hard for us because we had a vision, but we've learned to just really, if people mean well if you've surrounded yourself with good people. You know what I mean? So advice.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. And, being able to be flexible and adaptable and open-minded has been one of the reasons why I've seen a lot of businesses thrive, right? Not just survive. And when you look at some of the companies that don't succeed, sometimes it's the CEO and founder getting in their own way. They're too rigid. They don't want the feedback. They're not willing to pivot, right? So I love this idea of show up. I actually, while I was growing up, my dad used to say, showing up is half the battle, right? So show up, be a good person, to your point, being able to give back as much as you're receiving and being humble and gracious about whatever it is that you're receiving, I think is awesome. But the pay it forward philosophy, I think is huge. And actually a big part of, female camaraderie. And just anybody's camaraderie, right? But we do have each other's backs. And it's like, how do we elevate each other as a community and not just as a single person, as an individual, right? It doesn't have to be competitive. It can be collaborative, right? And then just having, again, the adaptability to pivot and adjust as needed, take constructive feedback. One of the best things I've learned over the years that's helped me, and actually with my mental state, is when people give you feedback, or if they have an opinion, or you watch how they react, that's actually, it's more telling about who they are as a person than it is about you. It is not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them. So I think people can feel steadfast in themselves, as long as they have their core values, they have their vision, they know who they are, what problem they're solving. People can just hear, listen, and say, I'll take this piece of information, thank you for that, or I'm going to leave that one at the door and you can carry on with that elsewhere, thank you for that. All great advice from you guys. So thank you so much for being here. I love that you were first guests on the For Female Founders podcast. How do you want people to find you if they want to find you? And how do you suggest people apply to become members, since it's invite only and they can apply? Do you have any recommendations or advice for ladies?
Yeah, membership is open to anyone. The event itself is sort of a standalone. We do all sorts of other events, but you can go online. There is Become a Member plastered everywhere on our website. It comes directly to us because it is Sarah and I, so we're happy to hop on the phone, learn more about you, and join membership. You can send us emails, LinkedIn messages, smoke signals, carrier pigeons. We literally answer anything that comes our way. So yeah, exactly. So whatever you want to send our way, we're absolutely happy to connect with anyone. We just, good people know good people. So we absolutely love referrals for people who want to be involved, and anyone that wants to be involved, we're glad to talk to.
Yep.
Love it. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. So helpful. I'm sure lots of women and people listening to this show are going to be inspired by your words of advice, your guidance, and knowing that there's a community out there supporting women in business that they can join, go on retreats, and get some mentorship at whenever they need it. So awesome. Thanks, ladies. And thanks for listening in to the For Female Founders podcast.
Yay.
Catch you soon. Thanks for listening to the For Female Founders podcast series. If you enjoyed this episode, please go ahead and hit subscribe, like, or comment below so we can continue to support women in business by helping them thrive, not just survive. We'll see you on the next show.